1941 was Spielberg's first big departure. It was his first attempt to make an all-out comedy, so what a better setting than a few days after Pearl Harbor? Am I right? The movie opens with a scene directly making fun of Jaws. And it's definitely kind of odd for a filmmaker to start one of his new movies with a complete parody of one of his previous movies. And yeah, that's the kind of tone the entire movie has. 1941 was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, who were responsible for the Back to the Future series. And this movie mostly suffers from the fact that it just seems too out of genre for Spielberg. It's certainly interesting that he's never made an all-out comedy since this. It's just so strange that the guy who made Schindler's List also made this, even though really World War II is just a setting than actually working into the plot. And about the plot. So there's this guy named Wally who works in a diner and he wants to enter a dance contest with his girlfriend. And also John Belushi is a crazy pilot who is just being John Belushi. You've also got an Air Force pilot who tries to seduce a secretary who is turned on by planes. And then the Unsolved Mysteries guy is a general. Okay, Robert Stack, I know his name. There's also a Japanese submarine that thinks it's in Hollywood and wants to destroy it, and is led by Christopher Lee and Toshiro Mifune. What do any of these stories have to do with one another? Well, nothing until the climax when they all start intersecting. I didn't even name all the subplots. This movie is heavy with the subplots. And that's a big problem with it. There's no real focus. I will say I do like the tone of the movie. It kind of feels like something like The Goonies. At times it almost feels like Spielberg's trying to make American Graffiti, but mostly it's too ridiculous for its own good. Some stuff is pretty funny, like there's a good subplot with the general who just wants to go to a screening of Dumbo. But on the whole, it's the subject matter that I think makes the film not work. The tone they're going for is very light-hearted, something like Animal House or Goonies or American Graffiti. But the central story is about people wanting to kill each other in war. Now compare this to something like MASH, which is a very funny movie and set during the Korean War. But MASH is a dark comedy and doesn't really revolve around war combat, and it also knew when to get serious. Some things are funny in and of themselves, but you're always reminded of the fact that there's a freaking war going on. And most of the broad attempts at slapstick are just not funny. Is it the worst thing ever? No, not by a long shot. If you want to see a movie with a lot of ambitious set pieces that has that 80s family tone, then I might actually recommend it. Is it a good Spielberg film? No. If you're a Spielberg completist, then check it out. But for me, I'm fine with letting history have this one.